Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel here. Got another March Madness kind of college basketball related video for you here, obviously. As you can see, ESPN's famous second chance tournament bracket challenge here. Obviously, I did some bracketology this year as well as my official bracket. Those videos are up if you want to go check those out, see how I'm doing and everything. For whatever reason, it won't let me pull up my official bracket that I made on the channel on my PC for whatever reason. But I do have the official bracket as it is played out. I did not get a perfect bracket as far as you know. There aren't any perfect ones left. But yeah, this is just here. But yeah, we're gonna fill this out today. Kind of get a second chance. Even though my bracket, the one I'm currently rolling with in most of my major bracket pools here, in around the 90th percentile, doing pretty well, first place in most of them. So don't need too much of a second chance. Iowa State, if you remember a Final Four prediction of mine, really the only thing that really hurt very badly. But yeah, first off, I kind of just want to go over the bracket in general, kind of give an update to the actual bracket, the full bracket predictions I did, and everything like that. But first, before I mention that, obviously, just wanted to take a second and kind of give a little channel update real quickly. I'm trying to give somewhat frequent content, obviously, but as you might have noticed, a lot of it isn't necessarily video game related content, especially recently for my full-fledged videos. It's been sports related. I know I kind of literally the banner of my YouTube channel says gaming and tech and stuff, and that is going to be a main focus of it moving forward. But I'm kind of, as you guys might have told or been able to tell from a lot of my videos over the years, I have a lot of different interests, whether that's gaming and tech being a big one and will be continue to be part of this channel. But I'm a big sports fan, some major sporting events and stuff like this, and others and big games and stuff. I kind of want to start incorporating into the channel a bit here, so that is probably going to start happening in the future, as well as obviously I like firearms. That's something that can be incorporated as well, alongside gaming and tech being the main things. But I have a lot of interest in side hobbies and weird stuff. So if you see that pop up, that's kind of why, kind of rebranding that way. But yeah, let's get in here. A little tournament update real quick. Overall, obviously this is my bracket, but just seeing how the actual official bracket is kind of played out, pretty similar to a lot. Again, my bracket is fairly high in the kind of percentile there. It doesn't mean it's perfect by any means, God no, but not terrible. As you probably, if you're a fan of March Madness, which I am assuming you are if you're watching this video, very chalky bracket this year. I'm getting the affectionate nickname of Mid Madness this year, just because there's not a lot of upsets. There's not necessarily a Cinderella run. The current highest seed being a 10 seed, I grant you, but it is an SEC team, big school, big program, with one of the most legendary college basketball coaches of all time, John Calipari. So not necessarily a Cinderella run to the Sweet 16 here, and very few upsets. Obviously, I predicted some in my bracket, like Montana that didn't pan out, like High Point that unfortunately didn't pan out. The stores they kept it close though. Really, the only true upset or upsets, I guess, were McNeese over the 5 seed Clemson, as well as Drake over Missouri. Drake over Missouri is a very popular one, as was McNeese. Two very popular upset picks against two lower seeds that necessarily weren't the most complete teams in the world. But yeah, only two real upsets. Colorado State won, but if you remember going into that game with Memphis, they were betting favorites, so not necessarily an upset or an underdog there. Apart from that, everything else has been pretty chalky. Um, 1 seed differential wins here, not really an upset. A couple 6 feet through 6 seeds doing quite well overall in this tournament. Ole Miss and BYU getting upsets on Wisconsin, Iowa State, respectively. Probably some of the bigger upsets or Cinderellas, if you can even theoretically call them that. Both playing very well right now. So yeah, that's going to be interesting to see how those play out. Obviously, Iowa State's really only the big hit my bracket's taking. If you remember, I had them in the Final Four over Auburn. But apart from that, I have all the rest of my Final Four, my champion, and I believe 7 of my 8 Elite Eight still remaining. Which obviously I had Florida winning, playing Houston, and Alabama also making the Final Four, all of which is still in. I have Houston and Kentucky, Maryland, or Houston, Kentucky, Florida, Texas Tech, Auburn, Duke, Alabama, and Iowa State in the Elite Eight, 7 of 8 still in, so we're looking pretty good there. Let's go over to the second chance bracket now, just to kind of fill this out here. Again, wouldn't surprise me if this is a bracket tournament where, like only has happened a few times in history, all one seeds made it. It just seems like that type of bracket. But yeah, let's just go ahead and go through these games and kind of fill out my predictions here. Auburn and Michigan. Michigan, impressed that they got to the Sweet 16. I predicted that they would, just because I think they got a good draw to get there. Haven't been super impressed with their ability to really do much. Auburn stumbled a little, but they've just impressed me a lot more. I think Auburn's pretty safely to the Elite Eight there. A matchup I had Michigan State in this game against Iowa State, and Iowa State winning. Ole Miss. Talk about, I mean, they have been playing lights out. I predicted for them to win a game but lose last night or whatever to Iowa State there. And yeah, that obviously did not happen. Ole Miss playing very good, a very solid team out of the SEC. Wouldn't surprise me at all if Michigan State lost to them, especially Michigan State been a little fluky, especially in the first half against a lot of these teams, even the 15 seed. Yeah, so it's gonna be an interesting game here. I can see this going either way, but I don't know. I'm inclined to pick Ole Miss again. I picked Iowa State for a reason. I'm not huge on Michigan State. I think Ole Miss will be the highest seed, kind of getting into the Elite Eight here at the sixth seed. But yeah, I just really like how they've been playing recently. Going over to the East here, I think as much as I want Arizona, I predicted Oregon would be in this game, but as much as I wanted Arizona to be able to beat Duke, because so many people have them as their champion, it would help me a lot since I only have Duke winning one more game. Arizona been playing lights out. Caleb Love has a lot of aura around him right now, or whatever. He is playing fucking lights out, but I just think Duke, first close game, I think Duke really sweats this one out, but I think Duke gets to the Elite Eight with this squad. Another great fucking game here. BYU and Alabama is going to be great. BYU shooting and playing lights out against another very high powered offense and shooting team in Alabama, who have won somewhat convincingly against both their teams. Not really against Robert Morris, but whatever. I still think just Bama is just that squad. I love how BYU's been playing against my better nature, or I guess not my better nature. I took BYU to be in this game, but I think Bama will win in a close game there. I don't think the Mormons have what it takes to really come in clutch there at the end. Florida, Maryland, not again. Florida's my national champion for a reason. These guys are, I mean, had a very good scare against UConn, but again, UConn not your typical 8 seed, a very talented school or very talented roster with a legendary head coach and the back-to-back defending national champions. It's a little bit of an odd game, but yeah, I believe in Florida and the talent in the squad. Maryland, very good scare, had to win a buzzer beater game against Colorado State. I like Maryland. I just think this is where their lack of depth and not as much talent kind of catches up with them. Texas Tech and Arkansas. Arkansas, the quote unquote Cinderella, I guess, as a 10 seed in the Sweet 16. But again, SEC legendary coach, talented squad, not necessarily a Cinderella. But again, I think Texas Tech is just that squad. They've been playing pretty well this entire tournament. They're a solid team. Surprised that Arkansas made it this far. I had Kansas here actually, but regardless, I think Texas Tech, which I had this Elite Eight matchup in my bracket as well, but I think that happens. Houston and Purdue. I actually had High Point playing Houston here, if I remember correctly, in my bracket. But you got to pick a Cinderella, and didn't pan out. It is what it is. It is going to be in Indy, I believe. Purdue going to get a home field advantage. But I mean, Houston just hard to pick against right now. They've handled really every team for the most part, even Gonzaga that they've had to come up against. They're looking very good. I don't think a Purdue team that really just has a very easy road, honestly, to get here. Um, Gives them too much trouble, even at home or whatever. This will be a very interesting matchup, 3v2 here. Kentucky already having beat Tennessee twice at home and away. Can they beat them a third time? It's very difficult to do. Beating people repeatedly is problematic, but I like the Wildcats. They've been playing very good. Bit of an underrated team no one's talking about because they haven't done much in the tournament for a while. I think they get to an Elite Eight run and do something in this tournament, and I think they beat Tennessee. Next, we have Auburn and Ole Miss. I like Auburn. Again, Auburn dominated the SEC this year. They beat everyone you could want to beat. I think Auburn at this point will be battle tested enough to go up against an Ole Miss team that's been playing lights out. I think Auburn wins pretty easily there. Duke and Bama, like I had in my bracket, I'm going to stick with Bama and the Crimson Tide to roll on to another Final Four, I believe back to back, if I'm remembering that correctly. I don't know. I think Duke gets to the Elite Eight somewhat easily, but when you play a pro style, such a fast paced, explosive offense and a talented squad, and an experienced, battle tested squad like Alabama has been all year, not just in the tournament, I think Bama can string together. Again, Bama's a team, has a lot of close games because of how they play, not a lot of defense. They can beat anybody, they can lose anybody, but I think Bama keeps that luck rolling and gets to the Final Four. Florida and Texas Tech, again, another game that I have my Elite Eight in my bracket. Do I switch it up and make my second chance different? No. Texas Tech, a very good team. I think they are more than capable of getting here for an Arkansas team. I just think Florida's too talented. I don't really see that happening, and I don't see that them getting knocked in that round, anyways. Then Houston and Kentucky. If you remember correctly, I had Houston in my Final Four and my actual national champion runner-ups in my official bracket. I had Kentucky playing them in this round, but losing. Kentucky, if they get to the Elite Eight and play Houston, can they win? It's definitely a possibility. Kentucky's a very dangerous team, a very talented team, a good offense here, very, a solid coach. Houston, though, I think a better coach. I think a little more experience and a better team, honestly. I think Houston gets it done. As you can see, 3 1 seeds and a 2 seed. Not exactly the most exciting or surprising or madness March we've ever seen in my life. But the way this is going, I wouldn't be surprised if it was all or all but one seed in the Final Four, honestly. But yeah, going to the Final Four now, Florida and Auburn. I like Florida. Again, Florida is just that team in my opinion. Already kind of one upped Auburn by winning the conference tournament when Auburn failed to, obviously. Florida, I honestly think is a more talented team. They're definitely going to be more battle tested through the tournament run of Maryland, Texas Tech, UConn. Some very solid squads. I think if they get through that, get to the Final Four, they're not going to be denied a championship ticket. Bama and Houston going to be another very interesting game. Kind of a high-powered offense with a Houston team that has a better offense than usual this year, but again is still fundamentally a defensive team. I think Houston, a team talented enough and good enough on defense, more so than a lot of other teams, even Alabama's played already. They can give them some fits. I think Houston kind of gives them enough problems for that to be problematic for them. Goes on to San Antonio to play in the national champion here, just like I have in my bracket, almost exactly the Final Four I have in my bracket minus Auburn. Florida and Houston and San Antonio playing the national championship. Who do I think will win here? Very good game. This is going to be a great game. Two experienced squads, two great coach squads, two teams that are going to be battle tested at this point. I mean, two teams who are Big 12 and SEC champions. This is going to be a clash of the Titans. I think Florida, like I predicted in my official bracket picks, I think Florida wins this tiebreaker. I mean, I could see like an 87 to 80 game, Florida winning. So what is that, right? Like 87 to 80. Again, Houston likes to play a little more defensive games. Florida a little more high-powered offensively, but it is what it is. I think Florida wins this. I'm not changing my prediction just for a different bracket here. I have confidence in the Gators even after the scare against UConn. I think that's what goes down. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about my picks here, what you guys are thinking for your second chance bracket, or how your bracket's doing so far, and anything else in the comments below that you want to say. I'd love seeing those. Again, if you like the channel, you like the video, you like the content I put out, doing some shorts now even, if you saw those. Like and subscribe definitely helps with the channel, helps it grow, helps get noticed. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the views. I really appreciate the support and the views and the comments and everything, especially on these March Madness videos. They've been doing very well, so I definitely thank you guys for that. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that, and yeah, that's about it. I'll see you guys in the next video, and hope you guys have a great day.